Hi, everyone, and welcome to our second LinkedIn Live series of the year. We are so happy to have you here with us today. Bienvenidos. Right now, we're going to be serving lunch. So if you're here in the Washington, D.C. area, please be sure to pick up one of our lunch boxes. And if you're with us internationally or remote, make sure you have something amazing and delicious for lunch. So our series today is going to be talking about how to invest in U.S. properties. It's a very important discussion. But before we get there, I want to let you know a little bit about the credit union. We are a safe, sound, and secure organization. What does that mean? Your money invested here in US dollars is always safe. So be sure to come down and visit us. When the Fed lowered their rates, we did not lower our share certificate rates. So what does that mean? We are here to serve the IDB community, no matter where you are in the world. So without much further ado, I'll introduce what you actually came here for, which is to talk about investing in U.S. properties. With me today is Perez, as well as Marty Stanton, and of course, Marco Paredes, like he likes to say, our Chief Lending Officer. So Perez, he's going to be talking to you about the market, the housing market. He is the associate broker and the executive vice president of Compass Real Estate. He hails from Guatemala, so he's international. What does that mean? That means that he understands our base. He understands your needs. He understands the pitfalls and the cultural things that you need to know about when you're coming to the United States and investing in a property. He has over 25 years of experience. He speaks English and Spanish, and he puts the customer first. I am a testament to that. And in addition to all of that, he's here every Wednesday, and all of his team is available to you 5 days, actually 7 days a week, remotely. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Andre to the stage. Welcome.
Thank you, Marilyn. What a wonderful intro. Thank you so much. And you welcome all to this awesome event. Today, we're going to be talking about three topics: real estate, title, and mortgage. So thank you for your time. My presentation is basically to discuss the state of the market. And because we are in the midst of the fourth quarter, I'm going to be talking about the end of the third quarter 2025. Without further ado, I wanted to outline the three main topics for today's presentation. We're going to be talking about the what's the impact of the easing mortgage rates and rising concerns that are affecting affordability. Also, we're going to be talking about the state of the market for the Washington metropolitan area in contrast with the overall nationwide market. And we're going to talk about what's going to happen, or what's the expectation for 2026 as we basically manage affordability in contrast with economic uncertainty. Without further ado, I just want to give you a little bit of information about me. Been doing this for about 25 years, and I've been having the pleasure of serving the IDB Global Federal Credit Union clients for a long time with great success. And we had the privilege to be here at the credit union every Wednesday from 1 to 4 p.m. So you are more than welcome to come visit and consult with us. Today, we're going to talk about affordability and how affordability is basically shaped. And let me remind you that affordability is determined by three important variables. Number one, the cost of money, interest rates. As you all know, interest rates recently went down, right below 6.2%. That has been the lowest in about a year. And over the past 2 years, we had two quarters in which we experienced rates of this type. Also, economic growth. You might not notice, but nationwide numbers show that we have had an increase of 4.6% increase year over year in growth income. And the third is home prices growth. As we all know, we have had an increase of property value in excess of 5, 6, in some states up to 10% year over year. But thankfully, home prices are now in the 1 to 2% rate. That is actually good because that increases affordability. That makes makes it easier for home buyers to be able to afford purchasing a home in the United States. But affordability also comes with uncertainty, right? And for now, we are dealing with a rising and the unemployment in the US, something that we haven't seen in nearly 15 years. And that is affecting confidence. Also, we have certain factors affecting our markets, like new immigration rules that are tightening the requirements for H-1 visa holders. Also, some uncertainties with G-4 visa holders. But also, we have local factors that are affecting our marketplace. Like, for example, political climate. We also have things like the most recent government shutdown that is temporarily affecting our market. In the chart attached, you can see the interest rates back in February 2023. We had a dip that went slightly below 6.2%. The same thing happened in 2024, around the month of September. And I don't have the latest chart, but you can see that rates recently went below 6.2%, which has been kind of like the comfort zone for most home buyers. You can also see here that affordability, it's important because over the past 5 years, fortunately for those who own real estate, property values in general went up about 47.5%. That's quite a lot. And if we compare home values today with 2010, we're talking about 143% increase of value. So affordability is being a challenge for many, particularly after the pandemic. This is the year-over-year appreciation. And as you can see, these are the years of the Great Recession, the foreclosure crisis, right? What we have seen is an increase of value year over year between 6, 7, and 8%. Thankfully, at the end of 2025, we're going to be experiencing somewhere between 1 and 2%. That is definitely bringing a little bit of balance to our sheets. Now, our DC market is thankfully protected against these huge fluctuations. We don't have to deal with massive speculation. We have a balanced market that is anchored by the NGOs, multiple military bases, the federal government, and many other industries like technology and so on. Also, the inventory for our nation's capital is being healthy. We are struggling in the condo market. Yes, there is a lot more inventory in the condo market, but single-family homes in the suburbs are doing exceptionally well. Also, we have a consistent buyer demand from those international buyers, whether they are G4 visa holders or H1 visa. The nationwide trends show that momentum is picking up, but not necessarily in home values. So home values are not going up. However, the number of transactions are drastically going up. And that's important because we want people to have access to housing. We also have an increase of pending sales of 3 to 5% per year, per quarter. The nationwide increase of homes is currently at 17% year over year, meaning we have 17% more homes this year versus the prior year. The nationwide prices, again, somewhere between 1 and 2%, and over 40% of the listings on the market are experiencing some type of price adjustments. So we are in a market that is normalizing, and that's encouraging for many. Now, projections for 2026, I think affordability will definitely help, but is affordability outweigh the economic uncertainty? Who knows? A lot of things have to happen. We have to deal with the increase in unemployment. We have to deal with the current government shutdown and other factors. So in general, expect a gradual recovery of volume, not necessarily prices. we are moving from a frozen market to a functioning market. And I would say that well-presented and well-priced homes are key for home sellers to be able to sell. And after many years of holding on waiting for properties to come to market, things are finally happen, because life goes on. People who are growing need to sell their homes. People who are retiring need to move to a new location. And those sellers will hopefully come to market in the next few months. As you can see in the chart above, we have about 4 million transactions per year nationwide. And where we need to be is somewhere around 5 or 5.5. So we need to fill this gap right here in order to go to a more normal market. That's the end of my presentation. But for now, I want to introduce you to Marty Stanton with KBS, who is a wonderful partner of ours, who is going to talk about topics that are important to you, topics that are related to G4 visa holders, how to hold title in cases like foreign nationals, how to hold title if you are planning for retirement, how to prepare for the sale of a property if you are other than a citizen or permanent resident. So I'm going to pass the mic to Marty, who is going to give you all these topics, but it's not going to be enough time. But if you have any questions, please reach out and I'll make sure I put you in contact with this amazing professional who I'm going to hand the presentation.
Andre, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity. I just want to tell you just a few things about our company. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. My name's Marty Stanton. I'm with KVS Title. We started our company about 15 years ago, but I started in the industry actually as a mortgage banker back in 1992. I've been in practicing law since 99. So really appreciate what the credit union does in facilitating things. Now let's talk about the legal side. We decided as a company that there was a missing piece to title. A lot of people don't understand the Foreign Investment and Real Property Tax Act. A lot of title companies just react to it when it's part of the transaction. So we decided to build a team around it that could help facilitate and serve your membership. We have 2 lawyers, both that have been practicing as long as I have, which is a little scary, that ultimately manage that part of our business. So I think that's important for all of you to know. And we are just an extension of Andre and their team and your team in order to help provide that legal advice. The first thing that I would talk about is that as G4 visa holders, you want to essentially make certain that you are starting this process early, that you think about it essentially beforehand. Because if you start too late, you can't make the same decisions ultimately that you otherwise would. So I'm going to kind of take us through that. And here, the first part of it is, I want to escape. There's no fear as it relates to buying property, refinancing property, or selling property as a G4 visa holder. Really, it's very similar. The difference is when it comes to ultimately, I would say one thing, if you are moving up, so if you're selling your property here and you want to take that profit, if you will, from that house and buy another one, you have to remember that there's still a withholding requirement, the FRIPTA withholding requirement, which can be up to 15% of the sales price. So that's why you want to start this conversation early as it relates to that. And then obviously when you're selling your property, because essentially you're not taxed in the same way on income, this is when the IRS essentially does want to put in place a provision for you to file a tax return in case there are capital gains. A lot of people think that the withholding is a tax. It's not. It's actually withholding for potential taxes that ultimately would be due. When your visa status changes, or if you go back to the country where you're from, nothing happens. You can, as foreign persons, just like U.S. persons, you can hold your property for as long as you would like. And from an estate planning perspective, this is where you're going to want to really think about, how am I going to take title to the property? You're actually going to want to work in conjunction with your lender. What can you do as far as a loan regarding the type of entity that you choose? And I can talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. So talking about common title issues for sellers with foreign status, we really don't see that much of a difference. I mean, real property, it's based on what you own here in the US. So we don't see, and it's liens that ultimately are applicable to that property. So whether you're a US citizen selling and we're dealing with title, or whether you are a foreign national, we really don't see from a title perspective. Where it does come up is when you might have, let's just say, a married couple. One has a TIN, the other one actually does not. And that's when we get into the sales side of things where hiccups come up. And that's why, starting on the earlier side of things versus the later side of things, those are the issues where then you have to apply, get that number, and it can delay process. So what we try to do is talk about these things with you on the front end so that you have just a nice, smooth transaction. The title insurance essentials, in this market, in this day and age, fraud is probably the number one issue that we're dealing with. Using a title company that has secure facility software in order to transact business, so that when we're emailing each other, when we're asking for wire instructions, when we're dealing with those types of things, everything is in a secure environment. Because essentially, we all know cybersecurity. I mean, I take a class each and every week. Our entire company is required to, because certainly cyber theft is a major concern. So that would be one thing as it relates to fraud and transfers of property. The other thing that I would say that ultimately is an issue is as it relates to liens, and making sure you're dealing with a company that actually is competent in title, can review the title, make certain that all the liens that ultimately are enforced against the property are taken care of and released as part of the transaction. And what doesn't it cover? I think nowadays, in this market, Andre was doing a great job talking about the market. We see in the market a lot of builders, a lot of people that get into the business of doing flips and things like that. And we have these issues regarding unpermitted work that was done, sellers that want to get the most value for the property, right? But then also, did they do all the necessary things that in order to actually get that value, which is file for the permits, make sure that those were inspected. There are certain types of policies, like your basic title insurance policy, which doesn't provide that protection. You as home buyers can get an enhanced title insurance policy where you can get that protection. So that's something that we would walk you through and educate you about. And then managing settlements for parties overseas. This is something that is very unique to, I think, what we do as a company. We actually work, this is dependent on the title company that you deal with and the title insurers that you underwrite through. So we have three: First American, Fidelity, and then also Westcor. And they all provide different guidance as to what's available. Now, we all know everyone wants everything to be as simple as possible, right? We found a way to do that. Our insurer, Westcor, will allow us to have someone use remote online notarization overseas, though they are not a U.S., considered a U.S. tax person. They can use other questions. So remote online notarization is a secure network where you can, rather than go to a notary in person, you can actually notarize documents essentially over the internet. But you have to have the notary of the proper place, and you also have to have an attorney that's available in order to do that. So our underwriter will allow us to facilitate those transactions with foreign nationals. Others require higher steps. And if you're not in a position, or if you're not comfortable with selling property using remote online notarization, then what you would do is go to the U.S. consulate, and you would essentially do it the old-fashioned way, which is sign documents essentially in a proper place where they can be authenticated. But we give you those options, which I think is great. The last part of it is wiring of money as it relates to it. If you're doing a purchase in cash and you're buying, you're obviously going to want to make sure that you wire over a secure mechanism. And certainly if you're receiving proceeds from the sale, you're going to want to do that. So you want to have a title company that has SWIFT code access, easy ways to facilitate the transaction of funds. We have all of those things, by the way. All right, so now understanding the Foreign Investment and Real Property Tax Act and possible exemptions. So essentially when you're talking about that, I mentioned it initially in that the IRS requires that you file a tax return for potential capital gains. There's a withholding of up to 15% as it relates to it. But sometimes, talking about structuring transactions to avoid or limit the withholding, if the buyer is buying the property as their principal residence and it's $300,000 or less, there is no requirement for withholding. If the buyer essentially is buying the property as their primary residence and it's $1 million or less, the withholding is 10%. And then once you get over $1 million, it's 15%. So essentially, there's some different clarifications as it relates to that, and we can walk you through that. And when you get close to those different numbers, sometimes essentially, then there might be a restructuring of the deal in order to bring that number down, in order to avoid the withholding or reduce the withholding. And then I think one of the things that we do is we decided not only to have a unit within KVS, but we wanted a broad reach of professionals, both the legal community and the tax community, that know how to file these types of returns. It's not your normal 1040, it's a different process. So you need to be dealing with that. And we have a network of professionals that you can use throughout this process. Okay, and then talking about co-ownership. So when you're taking title to the property, you have different options that are available to you. And a lot of that comes to who you're taking title with, what's the reason to purchase the property. And I can't go through, as Andre said, all of the reasons, but let's just talk about a couple. One would be the idea of rights to survivorship. So oftentimes, married couples would use tenants by the entirety. People that are maybe not wed to one another, but are close to one another, might use a joint tenancy, and those have rights of survivorship. And what that means is when one party predeceases the other, their portion automatically goes to the other individuals. That's the right of survivorship. It removes the property from probate, which is obviously helpful in many and keeps the cost down as it relates to estate-related issues. And then that person becomes the sole owner. There is not, because FRIPTA is part of when the property is sold, this actually, FRIPTA does not apply to those rights survivorship. A transfer by law doesn't impact that at all. Using LLCs and trusts, sometimes regarding limiting, some people like to do that in order to protect their identity. We've seen trust agreements where lawyers serve in that, and then the trustees of the trust actually become essentially the trustees after the documents are recorded. And LLCs, when you have a primary residence, maybe while you're working here, then you move overseas, you have it as a rental, and you want to limit your liability through a limited liability company. All things are I would say, are individual and unique to your own circumstances. What I think you need to think about is, how am I going to transact business as it relates to the entity that especially if I'm overseas? That's one thing to think about. The other thing to think about is essentially, how can I make this, for the people that I am asking to work on my behalf, how can I actually put them in a position of empowerment, not making it difficult for them to complete the transaction? And then implications for financing and estate succession. I would just say this: any time that you go from the individuals that are actually making the income to an entity that you're looking at, this is when you're going to want to consult with your mortgage banker, because there's a couple things that can happen. If you do a transfer that you think is in the best interest of yourself, there is in the deed of trust a due on sale clause. And what that means is, if you transfer ownership, there is the potential that a lender could call that note due because there actually has been a transfer, and that transfer to that entity did not agree to pay for the note, the terms of the loan and things like that. So what's great about being a part of this presentation and having real estate, title, and mortgage banking together is we really work as a team. We offer advice in advance of everything that you do. We then shepherd you through the process, and whether you are buying and selling or you're holding or doing whatever, we're in constant communication so that your real estate investments are a true success. So with that, I might turn it back over to Marilyn. Here you go, Marilyn.
Thank you so much. What a great job. Thank you very much. So what I do want to emphasize here is you've heard from two people of the three-person dream team. We talked about the housing market. We talked about the technical aspects of it, right? And that's where Marty's here to help you. Like, we're one cohesive team to say, okay, what are all your questions? Come down here, meet with us so that we can make it as simple and effective and easy for you, no matter where you are in the world. I do want to say at the beginning, I didn't mention it. For those of you here in the room, we will take your questions at the end. And for those of you who are online and connected, please make sure that you ask your questions in the LinkedIn Live section so we can answer them at the end of the meeting. Now, it is my privilege. We've had 55 years of experience. I'm going to add another 20 more years of experience. Oh, that hurt. 20 more years of experience for our Chief Lending Officer, my friend, Marco Paredes. Please join us here on the stage.
Thank you, Marilyn. I appreciate that. And thank you, everybody, for being here. It's a pleasure being here with Marty and Andre. It's important when you are doing a real estate investment that you have the right partners. KBS, Compass, there are really good companies that are in the market and know really well Washington, D.C. metro area. So you have the right partners with the credit union, of course. So we're going to be talking about a little bit of the credit union, what we offer, being a member. Let's go here. Being members of the credit union give you some advantage, or one special advantage. We are your credit union. You are the owners of the credit union. This credit union was built by employees of the IDB like you. 10 members that joined together and created this credit union for you guys. So basically you receive the benefits of that. This serves the IDB community in general, employees, retirees, and family members of the credit union. Lending programs, we specialize our programs based on the type of membership that we have. G4 visas, B1, B2s, green card holders, US citizens, and everybody that brings to the table the IDB community. We understand the type of employment and restructure of relocation, housing allowances, everything that you receive, and the way that you are doing business with the credit union, and if you're here in the headquarters, or if you're coming from overseas, or you want to buy from overseas here in the US. Mortgage solutions that we have tailored for you. So if you're buying a primary residence, we start with a minimum of 5% down if you already have credit in the United States. We can go up to $2 million at 80% LTV. We offer fixed rate programs, adjustable rate programs. Our 5-and-1 arm is a killer program. It's amortized on 30 years. The interest rate is a 5.25 today on a primary residence, which you're not going to find in the industry right now. Investment properties, we offer also investment properties. If you're here and want to invest, in real estate, you can do that with the credit union. We can go up to $1.2 million at 80% LTV. We offer any type of adjustable rate programs, 5-1, 7-1s, or 10-and-1s, amortized on 30 years at 80%. Minimum down payment is 20%, as I mentioned before. But this also allows the members that are in country offices to do the same. If you are working for a country office from the IDB and want to purchase a property in the United States, anywhere in the United States, we can help you out, put in the 20% down, and we're going to do 80% on any kind of these programs. And if you have a family member that wants to do the same, so if you have a brother or sister or parents that they want to invest on a property and they want a property in Miami or here in DC, also we're going to be able to help anybody. It doesn't matter that they have the income in local currency, but we will be converting that to US dollars, and we have the programs for that. Transaction types, we have purchases, rate and terms, and cash out refinances. If you have some equity on the investment property that you want to get out, we have the capability to do that because we keep those loans in our portfolio. Exclusive membership programs. We launched recently this year a blended rate program, which allows the members that are planning to purchase a new property, but they're holding back because you have that 2.5%, 3%, and you don't want to let go that interest rate. But you say, okay, well, I don't want to have the 6% on that is right now on the industry. What the credit union did is we are blending the two interest rates that you have. Maybe you had a 3%, and we're offering right now a 6% on the current rates, and we're blending that program, that rate. And maybe you're going to have a 4.5%. So you're going to have below market maybe 1.5% points, which is more aggressive than anything else. If you're buying a primary residence, you can sell your property and buy the new one. Or it's simple, if you want to tap into the equity of the property, we can do a cash out. The minimum cash out will be $50,000. And basically, we're going to be able to do the same. We're going to blend the two rates, and we're going to give you a new rate, which is lower than the market right now. If you're a primary, this is your primary residence that you're going to buy, we have a supplemental housing loan as well, which is up to $40,000 amortized on 7 years. And you can use those $40,000 for a down payment or closing costs as well. And if you already have a property and you want to tap the equity, we have home equity lines of credit for primary residence and also for investment properties. If you want to go for a primary residence, we can go up to $500,000. And if you want to tap the equity on the investment properties, we can go up to $250,000. So you can get the cash out and reinvest and buy another property, or you can use it for any particular purposes that you want. Lending designed for international members. Basically, we know our members. We have G4 visas. We know how the G4 visas work. If you go outside of the country, outside to another lender, they're going to ask, G4, what is a G4? So they're going to go to the book, and they're going to start looking into the guidelines and see, okay, G4. But they don't know really how to manage those type of visas. But we have, the knowledge on how to build, programs through the G4 programs and to offer that to any type of structure of visas. So if you have a B1, B2 visa, you are basically a tourist that wants to purchase a property in the United States. If you're a local employee at the IDB country offices, basically you're going to have a B1, B2. And if you want to purchase that, we're going to be able to do that. The only thing that you're going to need to do is get a tax identification number, IT number, and you're going to be able to do that with the credit union. And we're going to offer you the same products that we offer anybody here in headquarters. Also, we do green card holders, U.S. citizens, as we know everybody on the industry. We coordinate with the settlement companies like KBS Title, just to make sure that you guys have the right legal advice on the purchase of the property to ensure the ownership. Basically, if it's an individual joint or if you want to do a revocable trust, as Marty mentioned before. So, and we have flexible underwriting. Everything is underwriting in-house. We serve our loans and we keep it in our portfolio. Types of for G4s, basically, important is that you start early. Do your pre-qualification. If you're going out to the market and if you have other pre-qualifications without related, it doesn't matter. Come to the credit union. We're going to give you, the goods and bads. So if we have a better program, we're going to compete with that. If we don't have the better program, we're going to tell you, yes, you have a really excellent program with that lender that is outside of the credit union, and we're going to try to beat that or see if we can build a program through that. Prepare documents, visa, bring your G4, bring the verification of employment, pay stubs, any kind of documents that we request normally to do a pre-qualification. Choose your loan program with your loan advisors. We have excellent loan officers here. Everybody knows Alexandra, Edwin, Eric, and Carlos. So they will help you out to make sure that you have the right loan, and it's going to fit your needs. Ask about our HELOCs. If you already have a property with the credit union, check out the HELOCs that we have. Maybe if you are short on the down payment for the new property, maybe we can do a home equity line of credit. It depends on the amount. It doesn't matter if it's $100,000, $50,000, or $200,000. Depends on your need. Basically, we can do that. Also, the supplemental housing is important as well. Consult your tax and legal experts. You have, Andre, you have Marty, you have KBS Title. So we're going to be able to help you out to make sure that we have all the transaction covered. And this is your cooperative. This is member-driven and rates lower fees. 5.25 or 5.1 arm really is very, very competitive in the market. You can go around, please shop around and come back to the credit union. You're gonna see, that we're doing business for you because this is your credit union, and anything that we do is towards you. In-house origination and servicing. We do origination in-house. We do underwriting in-house, and we serve our loans in-house as well. Well, we have a servicing company, but the loans are ours. A specialized team, well, we have the loan officers that are here for you, that they have a lot of background. I can say that easy. We have more than 100 years of experience within the group. So we know really well our industry, Washington, D.C. metro area, nationwide, and also the type of members that we have as well. We cover, if you want to buy in Florida, if you want to buy in Texas, we recently opened Texas. If you want to do Hawaii, well, we're working on Hawaii yet, but we're gonna see, opening more markets for the credit union members as we are getting some requests additional for any other properties outside of the area. So we're the partners. No, this is something that I like is the Global Credit Union. Your visa status shouldn't be never a limit for your ability to build wealth and stability. So this is what we do for you guys. We want you to grow. We see you when you guys arrive here and you are doing your first investment on the property. This is an investment for you guys. Maybe this is the first house. It's not the only one that you're gonna buy. You're gonna buy maybe 2 or 3. I see, people that had, 4 or 5 times that bought properties here in the area, and plus they do have investment properties. This is a way to grow your portfolio and do some investments as well with the credit union, and with the help and assistance of Compass and KBS as well. We're gonna be able to assist you at any time. And questions?
Thank you,
We're
Marco.
open for
Amazing
questions.
presentation.
Thank you.
So I want to open up here to the room. Are there any questions here that you have that you would like to ask your dream team? I would call them from now on. No questions in the room. Yes, question.
And maybe Marty can talk a little bit more about this, but a question that comes up a lot, and I'm one of the agents also that I work with Compass, but when is the right time to do or start working if you're going to have to be faced with the FIRPTA withholding, filing? What will be your guidance as far as like how early can we start? Is there a process that can avoid us having to wait until when it's tax filing season, or do we focus on maybe looking at selling the home as we get closer to tax season, because that'll make the term shorter as far as like what we wait to get that the proceeds back?
Great question, Camilo. And I have a couple things. I don't think you can start early enough. Jen, stand up.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. So I don't think that you can start early enough generally. Everyone that's watching this that owns real estate should start to talk about, okay, what does this look like? Just take what the value of my home is today, and what is the withholding going to be, and what does this look like as far as the process, so that you understand it. As far as the taxes are concerned, one of the things that we offer is we will hold the proceeds in escrow and work with your tax professional in order to deal with it. The IRS has 90 days to make a determination as to whether or not any capital gains are due. And then if there's no capital gains due, we send that money back to your client. If there is some money, we send it to the IRS, and then we send the balance to the client. So based on the timing of year, though, as you point out, is really important. If it's within the first 3 months of the year, it's very easy to do that. As you get after tax season and kind of come through, sometimes the best, and we rely on the tax advisor to provide this advice, is to actually, rather than hold the money in escrow, is to provide the money to the IRS, so that then when you file your return, they can expedite your refund. Now with e-filings and things like that, though obviously the IRS is always an interesting agency to deal with, but with the e-filings, it's supposed to be a much faster time frame. So oftentimes we find that the tax professionals will say, don't do the escrow, actually send the money in, because they're going to get the money back that much sooner if you do it. But we listen to them, and that's how we kind of come up with the direction. Your tax professional that you're working with essentially is the lead, and we follow their advice.
Excellent. Thank you, Marty. Any other questions in the room? No. Oh, yes.
I have a comment.
Come on.
Yes.
Come on.
So because you are credit union members, you're probably used to having these great programs and benefits. But if you see the banking out there, what you guys have at the IDB Global Federal Credit Union is something very special that I wish I had. Many buyers out there don't have access to the opportunities, the rates, the programs, the service, the relationship that you guys have. So I really want you to put attention, because most of you just don't have comparison. Because of the G4 visa situation, you don't have other banks to compare the credit union against. So please put attention, see what you have, take advantage, reach out. You won't regret it. This is something that will give you tremendous advantage at the time to refinance, to purchase, buy an investment property, or simply, just borrow money on a line of credit. So reach out to Marco and his team. What you have as far as pricing is something that we don't see out there. So take advantage of it.
Thank you so much. So I'm looking at my phone and I don't see any questions online. I just want to go around one more time. Are there any questions here in the room? Awesome. So great. So let's come back to where we started, right? We talked about the marketplace. Andre took you through that. We talked about the documents that you need, the technical stuff, the taxes, all that kind of stuff that you need to know about. We're here for you on that. Marco spoke to you about lending, our amazing lending products. What I can tell you at the end of the day is that this team, the leadership team, and the entire team is here to help you in no matter what stage you are in. Please come down. Please visit us. And I also want to say that a lot of people don't know that you can provide your benefits of membership to your family members. It's a great advantage. Why not extend those benefits to your family members no matter where they are in the world? And I also started off this presentation by saying when the Fed dropped their rates, we did not drop our share certificate rates. That just happened recently. So we want to say we are extremely competitive out there in the marketplace. Come deposit your money here. We are safe, sound, and secure. And the last thing I want to say, well, maybe not the last thing, Camilo put in the chat how you can come see us. Make that appointment. Come down. We are very flexible to make sure. And I also welcome you to come visit Andre. My Sandoval, he can come over, come say hello. He is my experienced branch manager, and he's always here to help all of his membership. And we do speak your language. We know the challenges you have. I have an amazing staff that speaks not only English, Spanish, but we also have Portuguese. So we know what you're facing. We want to make sure that we communicate to you in the language that you expect. Please also look at our webinars. We do a lot of work on G4 visas, retirement, estate planning. We have a whole plethora of topics that we want to make sure that you know about so you are prepared to make informed decisions. Without further ado, my name is Marilyn Wagner. I'm the Chief Experience Officer. Everybody here have a wonderful lunch. Buen provecho. Everybody online, enjoy your lunch now. I know it's a little late. Take care, everyone. Thank you, team.